Dad Mod's Media Machine presents the Brews with the Dudes podcast.
I think we were ready for a podcast.
Shouldn't beer be number one on that list?
It was because I was doing the reverse order.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. That's
yeah,
what it is.
playing 7D chess. Yeah. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Brews with the Dudes podcast. I am Jake Lindquist.
I am Donnie Allen, and you are in my house right now.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. I gotta say, like, I've always been partial to the style of Christmas tree. I like the ones that are white.
I think
There's a joke in there. There's a race joke in there somewhere.
I don't know if I can make that. We're still in 2020. We'll save those kind of jokes for 2021.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And this might be the tree. So my wife loves Christmas. Like, she's obsessed with Christmas, as you can tell by all the crap.
The adornments.
We have 3 Christmas trees in our house, like full-size Christmas trees. And
You do. I didn't even notice that.
plus,
but yeah,
plus
there's
2 small ones over there on the piano that you guys can't see.
nice.
But I'm like, no, we can only have 2. Like 2, even 2 is absurd, but like I can live
Yeah.
with 2. I come home one day, there's a 3rd, and she's like, you can't be mad at me. I'm like, there's a 3rd tree. Like, you better have a reason why I can't be mad at you. Well, I used my birthday money on it. Oh, that's a loophole. That's bullshit.
What can you do when they buy it with their own money? Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with cars. Like, what do you do? I mean, I guess, granted, cars have like a bigger footprint, so that might be grounds for a little more complaining.
There's a car sitting in my driveway for the last year.
There is. And much like getting the E30 series out, we'll get to that car.
Someday. Yeah.
No joke. I am basically done with the first E30 series, and I'm wondering when we should drop it on the people.
The whole series or episode?
Oh, I'm sorry, the first episode.
I was gonna say, like,
first
the
episode
whole
of the
series is like
I wish
10 episodes. Well,
Yeah.
6 episodes. Maybe 5
Well, the whole series,
is a lot.
your car has to get done to be the whole series.
Yeah, but like the intro series,
the intro series, yeah. We'll
like the prequel.
yeah, I gotta dissect all of the footage because we shot a lot of it in interview style as well, which is super cool. So I need to kind of go through the actual footage of what we have and figure out how to plug that into actual episodes. There's a lot.
I'm so sorry you have to go through all of that.
That's part of why it's taken this long. It's been crazy to go through all of it.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 years worth of footage.
Yeah, there
on
is.
That car.
Well, and that's the funny thing is, like, so we've built up all of this banked footage of this car because like everybody's known that we've had it, but they haven't gotten to see it in video form because we just needed like a direction with the car. Because, and for good reason, you've been kind of like, okay, will this work? Will that work? Oh, I bought this motor and it's not going to work. And now
I got this other motor that should work.
fucking better work.
It's technically in the car right now.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
So long as it's got compression, it'll work.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, hey, we're moving along, and I'm really excited to get that series out because this first episode it's good, man.
I see. One of the things I love so much about Dad Mods, and it's unfair to you because you do the editing, but for me, it's like I get to write and direct my favorite film, but never see it. And so I just get like there's all this anticipation of like, oh, it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
That's so funny. That's a really good point too, because you do a lot of the directing cinematography and stuff in the moment too. Like, I mean, obviously I know how to do it as well, but like you've got some really good ideas. So while I'm really buckled down and focused on like the task at hand, whether it's fabricating something or whatever.
I am not a task oriented person.
Yeah, you just kind of like dive in and you make it happen. Yeah. But like you being such a movie nut in the first place, you already know to just kind of like look at the whole room and go like, oh, this would be a cool angle, or like if we set it up on the roller, whatever the track thing.
Yeah, the slider.
Slider.
That's...
Set up on the slider. This will look really cool this way.
Yeah,
and,
I love that. I love just seeing new episodes and be like, oh, like it's all coming together. Like, it's the final product. Like,
yeah, God, that's so true. So you don't see any of the editing really.
no,
You haven't been privy to that more than maybe like for one video, and like
I think we tried to do like 1 or 2 episodes together and just realized like if we want to get these done quickly, it can't happen that
I
way.
know that's the bummer of it is like in order to do the editing together, this would almost have to be a full-time job.
So if somebody wants to pay us,
Yeah, we're taking donations. You can Venmo 2brokedudes at gmail.com.
or find Dad Mods Official on OnlyFans. Got a few things out there.
Exactly. So we've got multiple tiers. We've got the entry tier, which is just the sad bastards. We've got the mid-level, which is real gompos, and then the top tier. What would we call the top tier?
I don't know.
Just live nudes or something like. We need a good name for it, like
Brews with the Nudes.
Brews with the Nudes. There it is, man. Okay, so you've heard about the KFConsole thing now, right?
I've seen a couple of posts, but I feel like it's a hoax. Like KFC, they do some weird shit. Like they got rid of their potato wedges and have fries.
Really, they don't have potato wedges anymore.
Last time I went, and
that's odd.
I was like this close to speaking to the manager. Like, are you shitting me?
Going full Karen and being like, "Why don't you have potato wedges?"
Yeah, why would I want fries with my chicken poppers? Like, what the fuck? Clearly, I'm not worried about this figure. Give me the wedges.
Like, who thought that was a good idea? If they get rid of biscuits, I'll never go there again.
Oh yeah, easily.
You know what's funny though? I haven't been there in probably 15 years, so I don't know.
So they're going to lose out on $7.99 once every 10 years.
Yep, once a decade. Well, in this case, once every 15 years.
That's like $70 if you'd live to be 100.
Is that fourscore? How long, when they say like when Abe Lincoln said fourscore and blah 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 years ago? How long is fourscore? I thought it was like 15 years or something.
Fourscore?
I don't. Anyway,
I'm gonna say 20.
So the KFConsole, that's probably our best bet for a sponsorship, right?
Yeah,
So
I'd take that.
if KFC wants to sponsor us, the overwhelming, like the restaurant company that owns like there are multiple restaurants, they're called Yum, I believe. Yum. At least that's what they are in the stock market.
How original.
They go by Yum. If you guys want to sponsor us, we will eat chicken and talk smack.
Yeah, we'll
not about the chicken.
We'll do podcasts playing your console while eating your food.
Bingo. We will cook our tendies in your console and stream it on Twitch.
Doesn't the same company own Taco Bell?
It might.
Okay, so Taco Bell also sells wine. There
it is.
We could do wine.
It'll be Brews with the...
We'll just do a wine and dine.
Wine and dine.
Yeah.
Wine and dine will be the podcast.
Yeah. We'll drink.
It'll be great.
Taco Bell wine.
See, the beauty of it is KFC will get us constipated, and Taco Bell will help equal it out, slide it right out of you.
So we'll just be normal.
Yeah, exactly. So what it'll do is it'll lubricate the outside of the giant rock in your digestive tract. It'll be perfect. It'll just slide right out.
and you'll be drunk off the wine, so you won't feel anything.
It will be like in Ace Ventura when he climbs out of the back of the rhino. We'll just successfily release. So anyway, I can't believe that this is a thing. I feel like we have reached a point now where real life is beyond fiction.
Oh yeah,
like you can't write this shit anymore.
I think that's possibly the reason why there's no good movies anymore. Like there are some okay movies, but
that's a good point.
They're doing, as everybody knows, it's either comic book or it's a remake. Right. I'd say that's a good 75-80% of the market because there's just no ideas. Like, where do you go? Like, well, KFC's making a game console that'll cook your food while you play.
Well, right, yeah.
How do you get more original than that?
So, I mean, it's not like in the moment you can make a movie about murder hornets.
Yeah.
Like, they're supposedly happening right now. How do you make a movie about something that's happening right now?
It makes Sharknado that more plausible.
Exactly. Well, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
We're slowly getting to Idiocracy being, like, real life. Like, it's going to become a documentary before too long.
I could see that.
Yeah.
When
KFC makes a console that will cook your tendies inside of it, man, that's pretty weird. That's pretty close to Idiocracy.
So, do you think there's going to be somebody out there that I don't want to say is poor, but it may be a little bit lower income, and they're like, well, I want a new Xbox, but I also need a new microwave. I'm gonna buy the KFC thing,
Right.
and then if it fails, like, do they not have a way to cook their food then?
Oh,
like, is there somebody that's gonna be
wow.
dependent on the game console
Goodness.
for survival to cook their meals?
The KFConsole will be responsible for people starving to death.
Yeah.
If it fails.
So don't fuck up KFC.
Yeah, no a red ring of doom, or is it red?
It was Red Ring of Death.
Blue ring of death, red ring of death. Yeah, can't have that on the KFC console.
Nope,
People starve.
You gotta get that shit down.
That's how you know that's going to be the most reliable console out there, because they're literally going to be responsible for people's sustenance cooking.
I think the only thing KFC's ever been reliable for is giving me gut rot about 10 hours later.
Right? One of these days, like, just because of the fact that they came out with that console, I'm gonna eat it. One of these nights, like, we should get KFC before our podcast.
Do you guys want to see us munch down KFC?
Me just like with a box of biscuits.
Our hands are too greasy to actually work anything anymore.
That's why we'll touch all the buttons beforehand.
We're slowly going to a food coma by the end of the podcast.
That'll be perfect. It'll already look like that. I mean, we just kind of do that naturally.
The last 30 minutes is us just passed out with crumbs on our face.
It's perfect, yeah. It'll look like any other night. Except we're not eating pizza at this one.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, we're eating greasy ass chicken. Oh man. Well, what else do they got? They've got that famous bowl. I've heard that name multiple
I've heard that's
times.
supposed to be pretty good.
Isn't that just like a combination of a bunch of crap?
Yeah,
it's like cheese and
It's like
potato.
they took a bowl of mashed potatoes and then all the leftovers and just said, here.
That's probably what it
Try
is.
this.
That's just like the leftover cutting scraps off of the chicken, and they probably put it into like a blender, and then they just sprinkle that over the top of it, and that's the special sauce.
It's KFC. I'm sure most of that stuff's just made in a blender.
Yeah, that's true.
You need French fries?
Well,
okay.
They probably pick up, like when you're doing icing on cookies, they probably picked one of those up, and it's just like it's like chicken sludge, and they just like slime that out.
We have a light that is. I'm sorry. We have a light that's flickering.
We have a flickering light. Are we getting it in the? In the recording. I don't know.
I don't think so.
So far, so good.
You guys might not be able to tell with the frosted windows, but we're in the middle of a blizzard right now. And
Yes.
about an hour ago, our power flickered. Real quick. Actually, I guess it would have been about 2 hours ago.
That's
so I
scary.
saw that, and I'm just like, no, don't do it.
Well, it's a good thing we're on a laptop, because then it won't.
We would still lose audio though, because that's plugged into the wall.
Yeah, but we won't lose the recording then, because they're on a laptop. So if it loses power, it'll just go, oh, where'd the audio go?
So it'd be like a normal podcast.
Exactly. Except this one, we don't have like tremendous amount of echoes and that we know of. Yeah, and we're not live, so people can't tell us like, hey, you guys are fucking up again.
It's magic. It all just works.
Yeah, evidently. Well, it all just works once we bring Aiden's equipment into the mix.
Shit. It's nice to actually have quality audio, and I'm not speaking through a freaking gaming headset. And
Oh, I know. The Zoom has been like a lot of fun, but I gotta say, when it comes to like editing it, the fact that I'm the only one with decent audio, and then everybody else's sounds like poo, because they either don't have like great equipment, or they don't have like a great internet connection, like Steve,
or they're in an airport hotel in New York, and it just is what it is.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Charlie's was exclusively through his phone.
Yeah.
I've got some ideas about how we make that work for future ones with people. I mean, it's only going to get better or be the same than that, and people seem to really get a kick out of the Christmas special one.
That's good. That was nice. That's one thing I do like about the Zoom ones. It's so easy to have guests.
It is, yeah.
And like, this is better, and I'd much rather hang out with Charlie and Steve and drink beer and bullshit.
Right.
But to try to schedule a night that works for 4 people who don't live in the same city, who all have 2 or more kids,
4 dads,
4 dads, 1 podcast. Like, you just
it's tough, man.
You can't. I don't think. Well, you probably could, but like, we're planning that a month out. You know.
We really are, and that's fine. Like, we'll definitely aim to do that as well, because it's always going to be better when we can get everybody sitting around a table. But
we now that we have a laptop and stuff, we should all go camping and film a podcast.
Oh, 100%.
Drink beer by a fire and just bullshit.
Yeah, we can do that too. Like, we could actually set it up and we can make it all work. The only tricky part will be the audio, because we'll need electricity.
I have an inverter for my car.
Oh, nice.
With outlets, so
So that would work. Yeah. So the worst case,
I'm like
you've got
4
a
steps ahead of you.
car running or something like that in the background, but your car doesn't have an exhaust, so it'd be fine.
Oh, it's got an exhaust, but yeah, it's not loud.
Well,
It's
yeah.
not. It's not like a Honda Civic.
Yeah, like our Honda Civic. Our Honda's actually surprisingly quiet.
It is. I mean, with the cracked header, it makes a little bit of noise.
Yeah, and the valve clatter when it's cold. But
Always.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely should look at doing some more in-person podcasts here before too long.
yeah.
But we'll also see how COVID goes.
Yeah, I saw an article saying that they're expecting a second strand now in Europe.
Oh yeah, well it's
It's a different
trying to remember.
variant of
Yeah.
the normal strand.
And I guess it's been here. I don't know why all of a sudden it's popping up, because somebody claimed that there's so many different things on the internet, but somebody was talking about how like it's not that new. It's not that like basically like it's not a threat. It's not just like, oh, it mutated or something like that again.
Yeah, now the vaccine doesn't do anything. Or
Yeah.
now we can't treat it.
Maybe, but I don't know, like, because I don't really know how this COVID thing's going to roll out anyways. Is like the vaccine going to cover a couple of different strains like the flu vaccine? I don't know. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, like always, wash your hands, wear your mask, social distance. A bunch of that we should have been doing anyways. Like the fact that like the biggest thing that shocked me out of this whole pandemic is having to tell grown ass human beings, hey, wash your hands.
Yeah. Hey, I know you just walked out of that stall. I heard what was coming out of you. Wash your fucking hands.
Yeah, it's not that complicated. This is stuff your
know.
parents should have taught you when you were like 2.
Should have.
Like we're trying to potty train Roman, which is not going well at all. And
Boys are tough.
He knows. He's like, oh, I at least attempted to go potty. Mm-hmm. I wash my fucking hands. I touched myself. I'm washing my hands.
Nice.
It's not complicated.
Yeah, it's really not.
I don't get that.
What I found that works for my little guy is like if you have him, if he enjoys washing things, so he really likes washing his cars. So he'll have like a toy car. He's obsessed with his little Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars.
He's got a sink car to wash his hands
Yeah,
with?
so if he's brushing
awesome.
his teeth or if he's washing his hands or if he's going to the bathtub or whatever, he's got toys that he brings along. And often what we'll do is we'll say, hey, do you want to wash this thing? And so he hands it toward me and I'm like, okay, we're going to suds your hands first. And so we suds up his hands and then he starts by washing the car and then I jump in and I help out with it.
Awesome.
And then it works out because then you've got washed hands in the end result.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get to the point where he's
Just
doing it and not needing to have like a car or not needing the coaching, but
Maybe,
it'll come in time.
Maybe that's what we need with grown adults. Be like, okay,
There it is,
grab your
yeah.
Snickers bar. Okay, we gotta clean the wrapper.
You're gonna wash a Snickers bar.
you leave it in the wrapper.
So I imagine like an actual Snickers bar, like out of the wrapper, like somebody like washing the chocolate. Like, why the fuck would you do that?
Is that chocolate or poo on your hand?
Well, nobody can tell, and maybe that's the benefit of it.
Maybe.
And according to Charlie, the trick is that you got to taste it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, that was such a good reference to Knocked Up too. I love that.
I've never seen that movie.
You haven't? It's pretty good. It's fun.
We're just south of 900 movies, and I've never seen Knocked Up.
Oh, you haven't?
We might even own it.
It's a treat. You two should watch it together, you and the wife.
Oh, I know the wife's seen it. Is that the one with Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen, Katherine Heigl.
Okay, yep. So we own it. Mm-hmm. She's seen it. I have not seen it. And
Yeah.
I like Seth Rogen.
I do too.
Seth Rogen's fun.
Yeah, he's good shit. I know.
He kind of like just does movies he wants to do.
And he's like a dude that I would hang out with. Like I would go and like I'd sit around a fire and drink beer with that kid.
Don't stroke him off too much.
Yeah, like I'm a big fan. He's good
He
shit.
definitely passed the elevator test.
The elevator test.
You don't know the elevator test?
You've made reference to this before, and I am not remembering.
If you're ever in a sticky situation trying to judge somebody, the elevator test is the perfect example. So if you were, for instance, if I was trapped with you in an elevator for more than a few hours, so it's going to be a long day, we're going to be there, you would pass the elevator test. I would be able to bullshit with you the entire time just fine. I'm trying to think of an example that wouldn't work that's not political or religious.
Yeah, that's always.
I have a couple coworkers. They would not pass the elevator test. If I was trapped in an elevator with them, the only way we would both survive is if one of us was unconscious. That's the elevator test.
Yeah, there's a few people at my office like that.
Does-
Like, I would probably pound my own head against the wall just to get out of the
Yeah.
situation.
Does one of you need to be clubbed?
Yeah.
You failed the test.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, good to know. So Seth Rogen, he passes the elevator test
Easily.
for you.
Easily.
Okay.
I could easily just sit there for a few hours and just bullshit.
I
with
feel
them.
like
no
most
problem.
people could, unless you're like really dry and lame.
Yeah, if you're uptight and you don't get that sense of humor,
Right.
you know, if you're one of those, like, it's gotta be by the book. You
Yeah.
tuck your shirt in, you fold the corners on your sheets.
Oof.
You always untie and tie your shoes.
What?
Just very strict, you know, white picket fence.
Okay.
See, then I know some people that are.
Tie and untie your shoes.
I know some.
That's
people,
an interesting one. What's the next step? Like, you always change your underwear.
I don't know.
You always brush your teeth. Where are we going with this?
Always wash your hands.
It's what we comes full circle back
you
to that.
Wash your freaking hands.
Yep. Only people who wash their hands pass the elevator test. That's good. That's a good way to look at it. So tonight, we aren't being too adventurous. We're sipping on some Blue Moon.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, we're over at my place. I just got done working a shit ton of hours the last week and a half, and Blue Moon is one of my comfort beers because it's just tasty. I've never had a day and be like I could not have a Blue Moon.
Nice,
Blue Moon just
yeah.
always hits the spot for some reason. So that's what you're stuck with.
Yeah, man. Well, there's no getting stuck with
No,
Blue Moon.
no.
It is really like one of the easiest to drink beers. It's kind of like Summit EPA.
Yeah.
Summit EPA is another good one.
Yep. Yeah, my grandmother doesn't really care for beer. She likes Blue Moon.
Oh, no shit.
Everybody
Yeah.
who's tried Blue Moon likes Blue Moon.
Well, and like it's super good with an orange in it too.
Yeah.
So it's like if you want to mix up the flavor a little bit, you toss an orange in this thing and it's a little fruitier.
Yeah, it gives you just a little bit of a
Super
kick.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've always been really impressed with it.
See, when I put an orange in it, it makes me feel a little bit healthier. Like, oh yeah, it's got an orange.
A
Like,
little
yeah,
healthier.
We're doing good.
You're not eating the orange though, bud. Well, here's the thing. If you think about the amount of vitamin C that's in an orange, there's some's going to bleed out because
yeah.
it's in the juice,
Yeah.
you know. So it's going to bleed out into the beer and therefore your beer now has vitamin C in it.
Exactly.
Oof, that's like breakfast beer.
I am drinking for my health.
Exactly. I mean, never mind the fact that alcohol is basically a carcinogen for every organ in your body.
Oh yeah.
But hey, the vitamin C will counteract that, and you're good to go.
So it's like drinking water.
Yeah, precisely. What's the worst that could happen?
So what we need to do is just drink Blue Moon with oranges while eating KFC and Taco Bell, because then everything is completely balanced.
That sounds like dividing by 0. Like we're gonna open a wormhole and all get sucked into it.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
exactly what would happen.
If we got sucked into a wormhole, what do you think reality would look like? Let's say that we pop back out and it's a version of our life right now. What do you think would be different about it?
God, hopefully.
Do you think it'd be more normal? Are we on the crazy side
I think
of the
so.
wormhole? Because I feel like we are.
Like I'm hoping that it would be a reality where like everyone cares about their neighbor and like wants to do the right thing.
Right,
and,
yeah.
Like, everyone's just super nice and doesn't break rule number 1, which rule number 1 is don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. It's not
Exactly.
that complicated. And I feel in an alternate universe, everybody follows rule number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you still have people who believe whatever religion or whatever, but everyone's like, "Oh, cool! You believe in that rock? Sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
I have this tree. Cool.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly. And
have a
I've
good
got
day.
the spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wouldn't that be just fitting? Because it's very clear that we're in the upside down here.
Yeah.
I mean, by
Easily.
the fact that KFC is making a video game console. I mean, there's no such thing as gender anymore. Our president is basically Komatsu from
Yeah.
Idiocracy.
Don't get me started on
And
We're worth $600 apparently.
yeah. Well, hey, by the time this podcast comes out, things might change. And here's the thing.
Maybe.
Homeboy is the one pushing for an actual usable figure, something that'll actually benefit the American people. I gotta say, that's impressive.
I think this is what's going to happen. You guys have heard it here first.
They probably won't, because I guarantee this podcast is going to come out after this whole thing.
You will hear this here second.
Let's see how wrong we're going to be.
I think it's a scam. I think his whole, like, it's not good enough, which it isn't good enough. $600 is a joke. I'm sorry.
It is, yeah.
But I think this whole, like, we're pushing for 2,000. If it goes through and all that, he's going to be like, yeah, you see, Republicans are getting it done. The Democrats only... He's going to find a way to try to blame the other side.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to try to find a way to twist it to make it look like his party's the good guys and the other party's the bad guys. When in reality, they both suck ass.
Yeah, well, that's really the truth. You know what's funny, though, is, like, him pulling this little maneuver actually puts Mitch Fuckface McConnell in the trickiest position.
Yeah.
Because they had to fight tooth and nail just to get $600 out of this asshole.
Because
and
I think they first had the bill on the table in, like, May.
Yeah, they've been...
they started off at, like... 2 trillion and then went down to like 1.8 trillion and then or billion or whatever.
Yeah, in September we had an opportunity, but Pelosi refused to agree to the 1.8, knowing that she was going to be in a holding pattern to try and like make the GOP look shitty right before the election. So that was her little maneuver, literally denying the American people a second stimulus package, because 1.8 was really reasonable. And now here we are. And I think, you know, you make a really good point about, like, is this really just posturing, and, like, are they all just, like, trying to play the typical party bullshit?
That's all it is. It's like, how can we make the other people look bad? Instead of coming together and doing what's right.
Trump is, like, he's somewhere in the fucking middle right now. Like, it's crazy because he came out and said that, and then the Democrats jumped on it, like, a half an hour later after this tweet and said, like, yo, we're 100% unanimously on board for 2,000 payout, and then that puts this exclusively into the Senate GOP hands, of like they get to look like the assholes.
Yeah, they just
when
kind
the
of got
American
railroaded.
And if I don't know if you're like me, but like my social media, it doesn't matter what party affiliation you are. Everybody's furious about this $600 bullshit.
Yeah, everybody. I've seen nonstop memes for the last like 2 days.
Oh my god, Jim is next level.
My favorite one is it's a scene from The Emperor's New Groove. Go figure.
Perfect.
Where oh god, I'm drawing a blank on it. That's the scary old woman that's in it.
Crap.
Why am I drawing? Yzma.
Yeah.
Yzma is like, well, you should have thought about that before you became...
I should have pulled that up.
What was it again? Peasants? The guy is talking about, like, oh, we're going to starve if you get rid of us. And she's like, yeah, well, you should have thought about that before you became poor.
Yeah, it was something along those lines. Yeah. Maybe we'll flash it up on the screen if we can get our hands on that meme.
If we remember to flash it up.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
so many memes out there. And
it's perfect. It's because there are so many memes, because it is like unanimous that our whole society is like, what the fuck is this? Will you take 20% or 20+% of our paychecks for all these different programs and shit? And you're going like, here's 600.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
600 doesn't cover rent in any state.
That's the crazy thing. Like, even if you lived in, say, Virginia, Minnesota, I don't know if you can have an efficiency for 600 up there.
I got super lucky. My apartment in Hibbing when I was in college was $300 a month.
Yeah.
And
but that was shared, wasn't it?
No.
That was a 1-bedroom?
Yeah, it was a 1-bedroom.
What year do you think that was?
2010?
2010. Okay, yeah.
2010?
Well, 10 years ago.
2010, 2011.
They were a lot different, but that was a bargain. When I was there,
that was a steal.
I want to say it was, oh my god, I'm 37, and this was like 22, so 15-ish years
Let's
ago.
see here. Michael Jackson was still alive. The TV was black and white.
Yup,
Moon
black
landing.
people couldn't vote. So 15 years ago, I think mine, and I had a really big one-bedroom. It was a one-bedroom with a living room and like this whole other room that was just...
Was it a one bedroom or was it one room with a bed in it?
That would be an efficiency. No, no. This was there was like, yeah. I mean, obviously, it had a big ass bathroom. It had a big ass kitchen. The
nice.
kitchen wasn't like connected to anything. Like it wasn't like the kitchen / dining room or whatever. Like
okay.
it had a whole separate like dining room.
It was its own entity.
Yeah, it was like the whole upstairs of a house. So it was like a bunch of different rooms and stuff like that, huge closets and stuff. And I paid like this is the funny part, is I think it was $420 now that I'm thinking about it. I think I paid $420 a month, or it was $430 or something like that. And
That's a steal
hilarious.
though.
And that's the funny thing. And it had a garage stall too.
No
So I
shit,
kept
yeah.
my very riced out Honda Del Sol in there.
I'm glad you took care of that one.
Yeah. 600 would have covered it back then, but
But even so,
I mean that's Virginia, Minnesota,
that's still only 1 month.
and there's hardly a rental market there anyways.
Yeah.
And yeah, you make a good point of like it doesn't touch it.
Like it's been what 6 months, 7 months since the first stimulus check.
yeah.
So okay,
Yeah, somewhere
so
around there.
here's $600. Like okay, well I'm still behind 5 months.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and for anybody who's fucked up enough, whether it's you've gotten laid off and you're doing gig work or something, and the gig work slowed down. I don't know the ins and outs of the whole unemployment thing unless it's like you straight up lost your job. But like, anybody who's fallen behind, like yeah, it's compounded.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say that I heard a study that said that like the common balance is like 5,400 or 5,200 or something like that for renters that have fallen behind. Like it's not a small amount. It's like they fell behind 1 month and then another and then another.
So you're behind $5,000. $600 ain't gonna do shit.
It's not. It's a
No.
joke. Honestly, it's almost like a fuck you.
Yeah.
Like it's so little money that it's like if say you went to a nice restaurant and you tipped like 8%, that's a fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this is, because it's just such a underwhelming
Well, and I think what people don't get or don't understand is they, like you said, they tax us at 20%, which I'm okay with taxes so long as I see my money go and do stuff.
totally, yeah.
You want to take
Taxes don't
20%, but
bother
you're
me
fixing my roads, my kids are in a good school, you're taking care of crime. Like, okay, cool, my money's working. Like, that's fine.
You're paying for services.
Yeah. Like, okay, cool, snowplows are out. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. But they're taking the money and then they're like, here's trillions of dollars towards a new, missile ship or whatever,
Right.
Here's a bunch of shit we don't need.
Yeah, and actually, like this bill that got passed is especially tricky because it's an omnibus bill, meaning that it includes multiple things. So it's
Yeah.
both the spending bill and the COVID relief bill. So
I don't understand how they can tie the two of those together.
it's super common to have omnibus bills. And that's how you end up with things like the farm bill that included provisions for like renewables and like, petroleum related stuff. Like you end up with like really random shit plugged into something that's for the farm bill.
It sounds like such a goofy way just to kind of hide stuff.
It is. Omnibus
It
bill
is
was
what it
intended to
is,
be an
yeah.
efficient process where it's like, okay, government's inefficient. It's slow in passing bills, which it should be. So they're like, okay, we're going to make this system where we can just pass multiple things under one big bill. And all you
So
end
dumb.
up with is these shady motherfuckers who are writing 5,000-page bills and saying, okay, by 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to vote on this thing. And it's 5:30. And everyone's like, how the fuck am I going to read any of this?
Yeah, even if it was only 6 pages, I would not be done reading that by then.
right. Yeah, so it's crazy. We'll see what ends up happening, but the reason why people are flipping out, and it's actually I think a good thing because it wakes people up. Nobody's ever paid attention to an omnibus bill like they have right now, and what we have is the entire population is looking at the breakdown of like, oh, we're spending millions and millions of dollars in Sudan and
other countries,
Guatemala and all these other random ass places, which we intended to allocate aid for them in the first place. That's just part of the spending bill, but people are still looking at that and they're going, wait, what the fuck? Like, so you're plugging all of this money into these foreign countries and our country's on fire. We're falling apart and you guys are going to plug all this money in over here. So if anything, it's a good thing in that it wakes people up to go like, well, wait a minute, why are we allocating money in these places when you guys can't justify $2,000 stimulus?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I completely agree, and that's I think that's the one good takeaway from 2020 that I've personally had. Neither the wife and I are really big into politics. We've both been paying attention a lot more. Not like not hardcore. Like I can't enlist senators and stuff like that, but a lot more aware than I used to be. And the wife's the same way. And I mean that's also a good thing. You want to be knowledgeable in what's going on in your country.
Yeah. I mean, it's important, and the more knowledgeable everybody becomes, the more engaged they become, the more likely that we're going to have, hopefully, more quality people in our leadership.
When people can make a more educated decision on what they're voting on, you're going to have a better outcome.
And we're going to have less people, like less repeats. We're going to have less Pelosi's, less Mitch McConnell's, less of these shady lifers that aren't doing anything for the people. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So if you had to choose to watch Donald Trump mud wrestle another politician, who would it be? Or you know what? Not even another politician, another reality star.
Another reality star.
Maybe you don't know reality stars. Maybe just another actor.
Okay.
We're going to roll with this until something finally works for you. So if you had to watch Trump mud wrestle an actor, notice how I didn't say actress, an actor, who would it be?
I think technically now they all want to be called an actor.
Oh, wait, you're right.
Yeah.
That's a part of the woke thing, yeah.
Which,
it's fine.
Whatever.
I don't care.
I'm a technician. So if we had a female technician, I wouldn't call her a technisha. So
a technisha.
It should be a
kind
technician.
of a badass name.
Technisha.
If you had a bionic arm and you were a mechanic, you'd be called Technisha. I am Technisha. I fixed your alternator. So okay.
Who would I want to see him mud wrestle?
Yeah.
Live or dead?
Wide open, man. You make it happen.
Okay, this is gonna be a strong reach. But there's a reason why I would see this particular actor mud wrestle.
Okay.
John Candy.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
Actually,
I love John Candy.
Particularly for one movie scene he did.
Uncle Buck?
No, he was actually mud wrestling in a film.
Oh, he was?
And I think it'd be cool to see him actually redo that.
Heavyweights?
Nope.
No.
He was in Heavyweights.
Oh, okay. I love Heavyweights.
Stripes.
Oh!
So to see John Candy actually mud wrestle and then beat up the president, I think it would just be kind of funny and kind of cool.
At this point,
and John Candy is a bit of a badass.
He is. Yeah,
and
he is.
He's actually...
I fucking love John Candy.
He's in the first movie I ever fell in love with.
What was that?
Cool Runnings.
Oh, dude, Cool Runnings was so good.
I can't remember how old I was. The first movie where I really loved it and like, this is fantastic. There's great storytelling. It's very emotional. It draws you in. It makes you give a shit about the characters. Yeah. So it was kind of that like, ooh, I'm gonna be a movie person. That was kind of that film.
Wasn't that funny? Like that is such an underrated movie.
Oh yeah.
You know, like it's silly. It's a bunch of where are they from?
Jamaica.
Nigeria, Jamaica. Yeah, a bunch of Jamaicans that are a bobsledding team. You know, so it's a silly concept, but it is such a good movie.
It's put together so well because it's got its goofy moments, but it doesn't try to be something it's not. It doesn't try to be a comedy.
Yeah,
you know, it tries to be a heartwarming story about like you can go out and do whatever the hell you want to do. If you put your mind to it, and you're
persistence,
and you're determined, you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, that's
and it
so
gets that message across so well, and it's. Yeah, it actually, I don't want to say it makes me teary-eyed, but when they crash, no spoiler, they crash at the end.
Well, this movie's been out for like 25 years, so if you haven't seen it yet...
but people are weird.
Okay, where are we going with this?
So a few years back,
100% agree.
I think they were gonna. I think it was the premiere of Fast and the Furious 5 or 6.
Okay.
Marcus Theaters Wednesday nights was showing all the other Fast and the Furious in order.
yeah.
Leading up to. Okay, you remember that?
I went to all of them.
Yep. So the first one. Do you remember Jamie, a buddy of ours named Jamie,
A dude.
slightly drunk, quoting the movie like half a second before the line was actually delivered? Do you remember that? Do you remember the lady about 3 rows down telling him to be quiet?
Shut
She's
the
trying to
fuck
pay
up.
attention. And he made some comment like, "Bitch, it's on VHS if you haven't seen it."
That was such a good line too. If you haven't, it's on VHS. If you haven't seen it yet, fuck you. It's your. It was like your problem or something like that.
So
that was such a good response. Like, yes, Jamie was being the asshole, but his response was so good.
spot on. So that's why, like, when I still have to give spoilers because I'm sure there's somebody out there who might see this and be like, "Oh, I've never seen Cool Runnings. Like, I should watch it."
Yeah.
And you should watch it because John Candy's awesome, and it's just a great film.
It is. It really is. Oh man. Okay, so if I had to pick somebody to mud wrestle Trump, Bill
Barr.
Bill Barr. Oh man.
No?
That'd be a couple of greasy old dudes.
Yeah, the politician mud down.
Yeah, it'd be pretty funny. So Danny DeVito comes to mind. He'd be pretty funny. He's a little bit smaller, but he might have that little guy energy.
Is it sad that... So I've never seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You haven't seen it?
I have a hard time with TV shows. TV shows are hard for me to commit to.
If there's one show, well, besides Dexter, that I think you would
That's
get
like
into...
the one show I've seen all of the episodes.
Dude, It's Always Sunny is right up your alley because it is just novelty upon novelty. It's just filth. It doesn't try to be anything that it isn't. It is just brilliantly written filth.
I'll have to watch it because
It's so good, dude.
my problem with TV shows, like a movie, you're committed for like 2 hours.
Right.
TV though, it's like years. You know, you have to. You're planning out the next 5 years of your life to watch this show.
Yeah, if it's a good one, for sure.
If it's a good one, yeah.
So It's Always Sunny. Don't even worry about it.
Okay.
Like, there isn't hardly a chronological story
watch
here.
them.
You can almost just go like season 5, episode 4, season 2, episode
Nice.
9,
Okay.
like, and just hop around. And like, there's a tiny bit of chronology in it, but not really. Like
they might introduce a new character, so you might like, oh shit, I didn't see that or something.
no, not really. I don't think so. I mean, there might be callbacks occasionally. I mean, I've seen most of them, but I'm just like, I'm drawing a blank because we're usually drinking when we watch it. But it is just like, I'm
sensing a theme here.
goddamn funny, dude. So check it out. It's amazing. If you guys haven't seen it, watch It's Always Sunny. More than likely, if you're watching this, you also have a little bit of a filthy sense of humor.
Probably.
So it'll work. It'll be up your alley. Check it out. But so Danny DeVito is one that comes to mind. Just I adore that man.
So when you say Danny DeVito, the very first thing that pops in my head is the penguin.
I think a lot of people that
I don't know why. I
happens.
think it's because it scared the shit out of me.
He was appalling looking.
I was like,
in that movie.
Like 11 or 12 the first time I saw that movie. He gave me
Batman
nightmares.
2, Batman Forever, Batman.
I think it's Batman Returns.
Batman Returns.
The second Tim Burton Batman movie.
Right. Super creepy. The
Oh, yeah.
weird like nose, the giant. Ugh.
Very noir
He's
look, black
fat.
and white kind of look to him.
And he had like this flapping fish sound all the time. Like he's just so gross.
Do you remember the scene where he ate the raw fish?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and the
It was
blood coming out.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. It was really creepy and kind of. It was gory, but it wasn't gory.
It was very Tim Burton.
It was very Tim Burton. Yeah. So yeah, Danny DeVito is one
I would watch Danny DeVito fight Trump.
that comes to mind. And honestly, like, and here's the thing, like,
I might have one that
I
beats both of ours.
don't know how to categorize this because we said actors. RuPaul. So
Is that-
RuPaul was born a dude,
Okay, yeah.
but has been doing drag for however long.
Oh man, that would be fantastic. Actually,
So that probably wouldn't work because RuPaul probably isn't going. It's one of those things.
I'd want RuPaul to fight Pence.
Oh man, that's gold.
That would be fantastic.
That is absolute gold.
I would pay some money to see
Oh
that
my
happen.
God.
RuPaul, if you watch this, Please fight Pence.
Please. Or, be a guest on our podcast.
Or sponsor. Be a sponsor.
She's an OG. Yeah, man. So I think those would be absolutely hilarious people. But then again, I suppose, again, RuPaul probably in this current world doesn't go by dude. She goes by she or whatever. I don't fucking know.
You do you.
You pick your fucking gender. All I'm saying is
be a nice person. Don't be a dick.
Just mud wrestle Donald Trump for us, for our entertainment, for the world's entertainment. Donald, I know you're already on board.
I have a second.
You have a second.
I have a second now. Meatloaf.
Oh, Meatloaf's good.
Like
Meatloaf's good.
Meatloaf and the whole like Fight Club bitch tits outfit.
But Meatloaf has to sing at the same time. Meatloaf songs.
I would do anything for love.
That's the one I'm trying to think of.
That's the only one anybody knows.
He has to sing that. He has to belt out the chorus to that song while mud wrestling Donald Trump.
I love, that was one of my favorite things in Fight Club was watching him fight. Because he's just this.
Oh, well, because Bob has bitch tits.
Yeah, just one of his tits all hanging out and just beating the shit out of everybody.
Oh, man, I know. Well, yeah, he just wigs out and beats the fucking tar out of Tyler Durden.
Perfectly casted for that role.
Amazing. I know. That movie is such a masterpiece. Everything about that movie was perfect.
We need a Fight Club. 2020 deserves a Fight Club, I think.
Well, we had one up in Virginia when I was up there. I never really partook, but I heard it was pretty wild.
Like you never partook because you were the narrator and you had
split
personality?
Yeah, precisely. No, it happened ever so slightly before my time.
Okay.
Not as though it was older people. It was actually like a lot of my peers or younger people are beating the shit out of each other. But
the retirement homes up there are really fucking wild.
They are. They're buck wild, man. Orgies, Fight Club.
When you're that close to the end, you just don't give a shit anymore.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what you should do is just put cameras on these nursing homes and just see what happens.
Just let them go.
It might just be like a bunch of people vegetating in front of TVs, or it might be orgies.
It'd be a big, from what I've been, I shouldn't say told, but from my
for what you've seen,
but from my understanding,
yeah,
nursing homes, like there's a bunch of STDs that go around because they're just like, who cares? Like this is it.
Yeah,
this
which
is
we got. Hilarious and crazy to think about. Like, well, I guess why not? If you're knocking on death's door, you might as well bang your way out.
Yeah, who gives a shit if you get herpes and you're 85?
I know, right? Well, and that's the thing is like when I'm closing in on death's door, I'm just gonna start having all the fun.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna start doing all the drugs.
I straight up told my wife, I'm like, when I hit 75, I'm like, there's no limits. You might come home and I might be doing cocaine. Like, it's going down.
Is my heart gonna explode today? Rip another line.
Well, my philosophy is this: if you OD at 25. People are like, oh shit, he had his life ahead of him. He could have done so much. If you OD at 80 75,
Okay, what?
Yeah,
like, everyone's like, good.
Shit. Well, he had that meeting at the VA coming up on Friday. But,
yeah, exactly. I know, man. He was gonna go see like a Dion cover band or something.
Yeah. Well, at that point, who would be cover band? Okay, yeah. So when we're old.
Oh God.
Who are the cover bands? Yeah, who would be our cover band?
Fall Out Boy.
God.
Nirvana. I don't know though. That's one of those things.
Like their cover band being in Nirvana.
Maybe. Like, what are the bands that are still staying alive for the boomers at this point? There's cover bands that are doing like what? Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Maybe
CCR.
CCR.
Yep. CCR is still going. Queen's still going. AC/DC just released an album not too long ago,
which is hilarious because those guys are basically in the retirement home.
Fuck, don't get me. We don't have enough time to talk about AC/DC.
Yeah, and I don't really want to. Fuck those guys.
Yep.
Yeah. So the theme though is that a lot of these bands are they're pretty timeless. They're pretty positive. Yeah. You know. There aren't a whole lot of like really depressing bands that still kind of make the rounds.
Yeah, a lot of the music I listen to is depressing now that I think about it.
Yeah, so it's like I go like Alice in Chains and
Foo Fighters.
Soundgarden. There it is. Foo Fighters. That's such a good because
they've been around forever.
They've been around forever, and their music is perfect. It's perfect rock and roll.
And Dave Grohl is a god.
He is.
Yeah, he's like the best person
Dave
in
Grohl
music.
is like the ideal musician.
Yes.
He's open to everything. He encourages anybody to just play a frickin' instrument.
He has that understanding that when you go to a concert, you're there to see him play music. Like he gets that.
Right.
Like this is my job. Like I am your entertainment for the next 3 hours.
Yeah, and he loves it.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing.
Completely
There's a
gets it.
balance between all of those things. Like, not only does he recognize the fact that people are paying money to go and see him, and he's thankful for it. Homeboy puts on a show,
Yeah, well,
and he loves it.
He broke his freaking leg during the show, and it's like,
heard
I'm
that.
just gonna sit here and keep playing. Like they're gonna put a cast on me, but I don't want you guys to be out
Oh,
anything.
man. Well, and it's so crazy to think about the fact that Dave Grohl started in Nirvana. Well, I mean, I think he might have had something before Nirvana. He wasn't even the original drummer for Nirvana either, which is the
Really?
crazy thing, if I remember correctly. So, you know, he was with them, and then obviously they disappeared.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he went, okay, I was a drummer back then, but in Foo Fighters, I'm going to play the guitar and I'm going to sing.
Well, doesn't he? No, I'm not. I don't listen to a lot of Foo Fighters. I do like their music, and mainly because I have mad respect for them.
Right.
But I wouldn't put him as my favorite band. But that being said, though, doesn't he play like all the instruments in some of the
He
songs?
might.
Aren't there some songs he records where he's like, I'm going to play the drums and the guitar and sing?
Yeah, so I'll just pull up the Foo Fighters here, and let's see like what they actually have for the members and what they play. Dave Grohl guitar, Pat. Oh God, I mean they have so many. Because yeah, they've had a few guys that have played lead. They've got bass guitar. They've got lead. So they've had a bunch of different people playing. Pat Smear. Pretty sure Pat Smear was in Jane's Addiction as well.
Really?
I think so. Music groups. Nirvana, Meat Puppets. Okay, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
Meat puppets?
Yeah. Meat Puppets are pretty good.
That's just slang term for human. Aren't we just
Yeah,
meat
I mean, it
puppets?
would be a good nickname for a penis, too, if you think about it.
And the whole theory that there's a higher power, wouldn't that just make us meat puppets?
We are meat puppets, yeah. Precisely. Anyways, I don't know where we were going with this, but...
Cover bands,
you know,
of our generation.
Yeah, okay, so who would we be going to
Foo Fighters,
casinos to see?
Foo Fighters is definitely up there.
Yeah, definitely the Foo Fighters. Yeah, God, I mean...
There's so many good bands I like that
Californication.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. I could see them.
Yeah, they might stand a chance.
They've kind of disappeared though.
Yeah,
They
fell off a
they
little
really
bit.
haven't stood the test of time, for lack of better words. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but their songs are also their big songs are really really catchy.
Oh, for sure. Well, and me being like a product of the 80s and 90s, mostly like the late 80s, early 90s, or mid 90s, the Red Hot Chili Peppers that I remember the most is the Under the Bridge album.
Okay.
So like I'm really a big fan of like those early ones, but honestly, Californication was a super good album too. You know, it's one of those bands that like somehow they've managed to play for decades and still produce good music. So I don't mean maybe they could. Maybe they would be
I think the Peppers is a very solid.
If
portion of that list.
we're sitting on leather, that's why you're hearing farting noises every now and again. I would own it if I ripped ass on the mic. So
You'd probably smell it too.
you would. They wouldn't. Maybe they would.
I smelled
Maybe
your
it's just that
farts.
good.
It's that strong.
It just depends if it. So you ever like smell a fart and you're like, oh, this person's about to poop.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a clear difference in
Oh,
farts between like a poop fart and a like,
I work with a
had
bunch of
beans.
dudes that believe that the healthiest diet is whiskey and hot pockets.
yeah, okay. So you know when there's a poop on
yeah.
deck, you know,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
one in the chamber.
There's one guy in particular in our shop who has the nastiest of farts. And
There's one dude, so you're able to literally recognize a single person
by stench.
by scent. You know, so if you smell the fart, you're like, God damn it, Carl.
Yeah, his name's Ben, but yes.
Oh my God.
And it's to the point where he farted once at the opposite corner of the shop when we were all probably a good 30 yards
No.
away from him. And like it lingered. It like came over like a cloud, and you could see in the order of, because we're all working on our trucks, you could tell by the order of people by their reaction, like how it just moved across the room.
Jesus. Well, so
It was nasty as
you
hell.
ever seen on an infrared camera when somebody rips ass? Like there's like
I
the
think
red
I
cloud
wanna
that
say I
comes
have,
out.
yeah.
Unfortunately, as soon as that reaches room temperature, it dissipates into into the ether. But like, if you had a way to infrared style view methane, like particular gases, how funny would that be? Because then you'd know. Then this guy would rip ass, and you'd
watch it?
see the cloud, and you'd watch the cloud move across the shop towards some unsuspecting group, and everybody reacts. Guys are gagging, and you know
That
what's
would be
coming.
funnier than hell to watch, though.
It'd be a riot.
Yeah,
I would love to watch
nasty.
something like that at a volleyball game. There's all these like volleyball playing chicks out there, and there's just like fucking methane clouds floating around.
I was gonna say at a wedding. You watch it move
Wedding would be
from
great.
the altar where the bride and
So the
groom
bride's
are, and just
walking up, and
slowly
there's
goes down
just-
the aisle.
She's just crop dusting everybody who's at her wedding.
All of a sudden, Granny passes out.
It's like, oh.
Why is the flower girl running so fast?
Why do the flowers look dead? Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Dude, can you imagine? So I now know a handful of people that have gotten married in the middle of the pandemic.
Really?
Can you imagine planning a wedding for the pandemic?
I can't even imagine planning a wedding.
It'd be so weird. So, like, yeah, like you can't really have a lot of people there unless you
No.
run the risk of being a super spreader.
How do you do that? Okay, well, we were going to invite 75 people. We're going to narrow it down to 12.
Yeah,
And
well,
all of you are going to sit in opposite pews.
yeah,
which
or
are-
like by groups or
Yeah.
something like that. Like, okay, so this
the infected and the
family sits-
non-infected.
I mean, honestly, that'd probably make more sense. I don't know, dude. It's crazy. Like, I would have thought that everyone would postpone.
You would think so. I mean,
But
then
I mean,
again,
if
though,
you're in love and you want to get it done,
that's a shit excuse because
Yeah, it's
if
kinda
you're
shit
if you're in love, you're gonna love each other next year too.
100% agree. Yeah.
Don't be a dick. But I think a lot of it is like you can't if you make a $500 deposit on Gracelon,
Right.
They might just be like, sorry,
shit.
yeah, you
Yeah.
made your deposit, use it or lose it.
That's a good point.
Like,
So
that's how the airlines are. We planned that trip, and they were like, "You have 6 months to use your shit." Actually,
That's so
I don't
lame.
think they gave it. I think they gave us a little bit longer, but yeah, you have until this date to use your tickets. Okay, well, one expires
Wow.
at the end of February.
oh, that
Where,
sucks.
where are
really.
we gonna go? Yeah, and it's like Sun Country and Alaskan Air. I think are the two airlines.
Okay.
So we're extremely limited on where we can go with
Wow.
those.
So it's like the funds that you paid into it. They're like, okay, you can use up to this amount.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm sure as far as
Wow.
like wedding goes, I mean, if you
Traveling would be tricky.
if you reserved a caterer and a venue and a reception hall and all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff, a lot of places are probably like, well, you got 30 days to use it or not.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, well, and even the people that are just like fuck it, we want to get married, and we're okay with doing like remote, like it filmed or something like that, or live streamed or whatever. Like, I guess I applaud it. It's cool. Like, you make it work. Really, I give anybody credit who's just kind of like figuring out how to continue some semblance of life right now.
Yeah, and I
'Cause-
get it. It's your special day, so you want it to be as normal as possible. But
Yeah, whatever normal would be.
if I'm completely honest, as somebody who's been in weddings, who is married and been to other weddings, 99% of people don't give a shit about the wedding itself.
Right.
It's
they're
the after party.
Looking forward to the reception.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you guys did it right, because that's where you invested like all of your time. Was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, we're doing the reception, because that's what everybody remembers, the party.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, with our wedding, I mean, we spent the money where it counted. And in our eyes, we got a super like we went for character all around. Everything was all about character. It was all about our personalities, our tastes, our music, our style, and then just adapted everything around that and did so in the cheapest way that we possibly could. Still spent like $12,000 on it.
Yeah.
But
Because
it
weddings
was,
are never cheap.
it's insane, yeah. But I mean, like, it was really cool. Like, the fact that we had pizza and then a shit ton of donuts.
I love the fact that you guys got Hugo to do your
Yeah. So for the listeners, so Hugo is kind of a legend in Duluth. He is a bartender who's been around forever at a
Makes
place called Pizza Luce.
the best White Russians you'll ever have.
Right.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
And he's such a good dude, and he even like his personality and his style fit with our, because we had kind of like a punk rocky rockabilly sort of a hot rodder type style to it. My wife loves dressing in the 1950s pinup style, and I definitely appreciate that.
Oh, you were
that
born
style.
in the 1950s, so
Yeah, I fucking feel like it some days. And yeah, so like that was the style of the wedding, and it was so cool because Hugo was already kind of like greaser looking, slick back hair. And
he's
he
got that
definitely
look
fits
to
it,
him.
yeah. And so yeah, it was pretty amazing. So knowing how much I enjoyed the wedding and like trying to imagine getting married in the time of COVID it'd be such a buzzkill, but at the same time, like, I mean, hey, if you're marrying somebody, like you're all about them. So
exactly.
it's like in the end, you're probably just like, fuck it, whatever. I'll marry you on a mountaintop. I'll marry you in a sewer. It doesn't matter.
We'll have 3 webcams going for everybody.
Yeah. Exactly.
Tune into our YouTube channel.
It's so funny.
That's how we
Like
get
and
views.
subscribe.
Yeah, that's how we should get. How we can get more views.
Crash weddings.
Yeah, with Crash Weddings, we'll just be like, to watch the ceremony, click on this link.
There we go. Dad Mods is moving over to Dad Weddings.
Talk.
Can you try that again?
Bar mitzvahs.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go. You got it.
That's
You
a
got
big
it.
word.
I wonder if it was another one of those words like pillow.
Pillow?
You've gotten better at it.
Yeah, that's probably the beer and the
You
lack
used
of
to say
sleep.
pillow. When
always
I
been
first
pillow.
met you, you flat out said pillow.
Or maybe you just made me self-conscious.
Yeah, well, hey, there you go. Now you don't sound like a goon. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
Jesus Christ, man. Well, I don't know, dude. So what do we got coming up here? We okay,
we can't say what we have coming up because we don't know when this is going to go out.
so I'm thinking this will probably go out in the beginning of January. It might
Okay.
even be the first one after the new year.
So, COVID testing?
Yeah, no shit. Well, yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I've had a lot of interest. A lot of people have been approaching me about wanting to be on the podcast, like a
Nice.
lot. So this is gonna be cool.
No
It's
one
gonna be
ever
fun.
talks to me. I share everything, and I talk to people at work, and no one ever says anything. Am I not approachable?
Maybe it's you gotta stop flashing your testicles to everybody. They're
thought it was
getting weirded out by it.
Well, okay, first off, it's not my fault one's bigger than the other.
Does it just bulge its way out of the zipper?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I only grow hair in one spot, too. It's really weird.
Is it really thick though? Is it like a soul patch on the right testicle?
It's like an alpaca sweater.
So one is super hairy. So like half the scrot is like, like a cat.
If I was uncircumcised, it'd be like a turtleneck down there.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. I think it is anyways if you're uncircumcised. So basically
maybe.
you just described an uncircumcised penis.
Sure.
Perfect.
If you have first-hand experience, you can email dadmodsofficial.
Send nudes. We don't want those nudes.
No.
What the fuck were we saying?
What we have coming up.
Okay, so we've got a lot of interest, and I'm actually thinking that we've got a local car club. This is sort of like we're the generation, we're the millennial, older millennial era where it's like we grew up on 240 SXs, Supras, Subarus, Civics, but also like muscle cars and stuff. So our group is really kind of like that era. And we've got a ton of OGs. We've been, our car club's been around for like 14 years or something
I think when
like
I
that.
joined, I was like 17.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of those people want to do the podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so what we might end up doing is because there's so much.
DSE.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
that'd be fun
there's
as hell.
enough content. There's enough things to discuss. We might end up with multiple podcasts from that. So it
fine
might be
with that.
super fun because we've got some crazy times.
I think we
reflect
should
on.
do that. And I think we should do a sequel to that with the Pushing Pistons group.
I agree.
And have like the
reading
younger
my mind.
generation. Because I'm friends with, I actually work with a couple guys from Pushing Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian, being a really good friend of mine, kind of the head honcho there, we can easily get some people involved.
Definitely.
and then kind of, I don't want to say compare the two because that sounds really bad, but you can have insight to like the older group versus the younger group. 'Cause
Yeah.
Pushing Pistons in a lot of ways is DSE just how we were like 10 years ago, 15 years ago,
100%. Yeah, that's precisely what it is. The irony is that each one of these car clubs, they start out wanting to be different than
And
the
they're all the
others, and we all end up doing the same thing. And not necessarily with our taste in cars, but just with the fact that like you start out in the beginning where it's all about numbers, it's all about getting as many people out as possible and having the biggest things as possible.
Random cruises.
And then in the end, you start wanting to sort of skim that down a little bit and trying to get hunkered down with the best group of people. And the irony is some of those old OGs in Pushing Pistons don't go out quite as much.
Yeah.
And whether that's, that there's just some idiots or I don't know. I haven't actually been to one of their meets in a little while, so I don't know if they've pruned a little bit or what, but
who knows?
Yeah, I'd love to actually have a conversation with him because
I
I've found a lot of the dudes to be super cool.
Yeah, I went on their spring cruise. I think it was the spring cruise where they went through Jay Cook and they were going to go up the North Shore and all that. And
Awesome.
it was a lot of fun. People were very nice. You get the typical, like, we're kind of young and socially awkward, so if we don't know you, we're not going to come up and talk to you.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But I think that also just depends on what you drive as well.
Yeah.
Like, if you drive something that really is an eye catcher, which the BMW will be that.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure will.
Yeah, it'll break. That's your icebreaker. People be like, okay, talk. Like, what have you done?
For sure. Yeah, and like we're fairly approachable dudes anyway, so like when we go to these kind of things,
I've been told I'm scary.
well, we're not like Ryan Merritt who just has like a resting badass face, or he just like gives everybody a scowl.
So I played,
and he also has a 1,000-wheel horse.
I played in my first disc golf tournament earlier this year, and I got stuck playing my last round with a bunch of like 17-year-olds. And I made a comment to Brandon, and he's like, "Oh yeah, how'd it go and all that?" I'm like, they didn't want to talk to me. It was really weird because I was kind of the outcast of the group and all that. And he's like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "You're old and covered in tattoos, and they're scary looking."
Huh?
I'm like,
"You're not old. You're 30."
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like,
I suppose
that, but
to an early 20-something or a 17-year-old, 30 does look kind of old.
Yeah, I don't think I'm that scary looking.
Yeah.
I don't have prison tats or anything like that.
You should. You should
Get prison tats?
You get a couple of what are the teardrops or something? It's for all the people I killed.
In reality, it's just for how many times I've leaked oil in the Honda.
Yeah, how many races I've won. It was like 1 or 2.
It's for how many times I've blown a coolant hose on the highways.
And a sub. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that sounds like a blast, though. Well, and we've got a handful of other guys that we want to get on. I really want to get Trevor on so he can talk a little bit about what it's like to own a JDM imported car.
Yeah, I'd love to have that conversation.
The Delica is so cool. It's such a hit.
That might be my favorite car in town.
I know. I love it.
It's in the top 3. I don't know if I'd say favorite, but it's definitely top 3.
Have you've seen it? You've cruised with it, right? Like you've been around it when it's driving.
I've seen him drive by because he used to live up on 8th Street. I don't know if he's still there or not.
I think so. It's a diesel. It's a turbo diesel.
Yeah.
So
we've gone over this. It's a sports car.
It's a sports car.
That's 100% a supercar.
Because it's mid-engine.
It's mid-engine,
Turbo.
turbocharged, manual gearbox, rear-wheel drive. It is a supercar. I don't care what you say.
Anybody who's seen a Delica,
it's a supercar.
is gonna get a kick out of that line.
It's a supercar.
I think it's super fucking cool because
Yeah.
it's basically a gnarly off-road diesel van thing with like straight up 1980s, early 90s style. It's rad.
And what's so fun about
tubular.
that cowabunga. What's so fun about that time period is they just didn't give a fuck.
No, they had so
we're
much
just gonna
fun.
try it. Let's cool. Look what Steve drew on this napkin. Yeah, we should definitely build that.
Yeah,
okay.
right.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's make it work.
Well, and it's back when Mitsubishi built like super cool shit.
Yeah, they had the 3000 GT at the time. Mm-hmm. The Eclipse, which the first 2 were fantastic.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are DSMs, so like they had those in the U.S. They didn't have those overseas.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
We did have like I think there's the GTO overseas. I don't know when that exactly started.
Isn't the GTO just kind of a souped up 3000 GT?
It looks more like a Ford ZX2. It's really
Okay.
it's a funkier looking thing.
Oh, that's right. Because
Yeah.
it had the weird, like, kind of hatch spoiler rear
It's
glass
super
thing.
funky.
Yeah.
But the Lancer is like the OG badass
True.
rally car for Mitsu, and yeah. So yeah, I mean they did cool shit back then, and
now-
this Delica is one of them.
And now they don't make any sports cars.
Yeah.
Good job.
Womp womp. Well, yeah, they plastered the Eclipse name on like a crossover or some horse
fucking
shit.
idiots.
I know. Yeah,
Well,
watering it down.
On that bombshell.
Yeah, we might as well. Let's wrap this thing up. So, thanks very much for joining us on this this episode, and you'll see us next week. We're recording this in the past, so
Well,
we don't
present
know
now,
what's going to be
but
scheduled for the
past to
following
you.
week. Hopefully, we'll have a really great guest because that's been working out great so far.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Sleep tight and don't let the dead bugs bite.
The bugs bite. The bug beds.
The
Don't
bug
let
beds.
the bug's bed bite. I'm just imagining a bunch of animated like
Beds just chopping down
mattress.
on you.
So, I mean the box spring's on the bottom. So
Oh, would that be the
how would that
teeth?
chomp? Like, I don't know. I don't feel like we can really take this in a comedic direction.
No.
So we're gonna drop this. All right. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.